Sometimes you just want to take a drive, and we traveled down to Nashville for Nashville SC versus Portland Timbers, where we got some great seats, but also some really bad ones at the same time. This is an away day review of Nashville SC. So surprise, we're in Nashville tonight. This is Nashville SC versus Portland Timbers because why not? We are outside Geodis Park in Nashville, Tennessee, a place that I don't think either one of us were expecting to be at a couple nights ago. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to be spontaneous and take a little spontaneous trip here. It's an easy 4.5-hour drive from St. Louis. My first time here to see a Nashville SC game. Jake, this is number 3 for you. Yes. So,
I went back in 2022 when this stadium was really new, and now they got some apartment buildings over there. And those weren't there when I was here, so it's really cool to see how it's growing, the area is growing, and yeah, just love it.
So let's see how the game day experience is inside. This will be a proper away day review. I'll start rating the different categories you see on your screen towards the end of this video. The first part of the video will be the game day experience. So let's go ahead and go into Geodis Park.
I don't have a hat.
And we're in Geodis Park. There must be good stuff in this team store because this is a big ass line to get in. Does Ronaldo count? Haven't seen Messi yet, but I've seen Ronaldo. So this is my view of the game. Now, if I get up to eye level, you can't see it, but no wonder these tickets were cheap. So we got great seats. We're in the front row, and it's a protected viewing because there's Jake. You can't see over that, right? Okay, first of all, I want to apologize for this section because Johnny Cash's God's Gonna Cut You Down is playing loudly and resoundingly throughout this display here, which is unfortunate because I'm a big Johnny Cash fan, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. But YouTube is also big fans of copyright law, so I have to talk over this. Sorry about that. I'll link the song in the top right corner. How's that? So Jake, anyone that knows anything about St. Louis fans knows that we stand for games anyway. Because of our friend, the little box here, it's kind of a requirement that we stand so we can actually see the game. But you know what? We're used to that. Yep. So you may notice on the far side a lot of empty seats just kind of scattered about. Good explanation for that, and this checks out because I used to live in Tennessee. Anytime it gets below 60 degrees in Tennessee, it's cold. So people just don't turn out if it's below, 55 or lower. So that tracks, having lived here before. Early penalty kick for Nashville, early yellow card for Portland. Barely even 5 minutes into this one, Nashville player had a break, got shoved down. We're going to have a chance at a goal here early on for Nashville. A needed goal because Nashville season's already kind of off to a slow start. Oh my, it missed! And the rebound. Actually, Jake, you know what? This could be a lot worse because you look very comfortable right now. You got this whole thing to lean on here, this big box. Whoa! time we have been explaining this row here. This row was not even supposed to exist, apparently. This used to be a supporter section for one, but then this row was supposed to be capped off. I guess it wasn't, so a bit of an oversight maybe, but as long as you're standing, I mean, you got this nice little table here you get to, you know, prop your stuff up on, so I mean, could be worse. Again? You know why Nashville has not scored a goal this year? I'm seeing it with my own eyes. Oh my gosh. Poor Nashville. I feel bad. Can they do it on a cold, clear night in Nashville? Not yet. Even Fop Mob's like, are you okay, bro?
Got shot! Got shot!
Best non-penalty chance the whole game for Nashville so far. I guess that's technically a shot. Put it on nets! Put it on nets! Fans here are just as befuddled as I am. Why didn't they put it on nets? That grounder did not have eyes. Fist bump for YouTube. There we go. Jake, the best mascots are the ones that give you some dap every now and then, right? Ooh, that was close. Jake, we always believed, right?
Yeah.
That's the end of the first half with the score Portland 10-0. Your Nashville FC 1.
So first half recap, and it was all Nashville. So many shots for them, not many for Portland. But they missed 2 penalty kicks. They score 1. And of course, as you can see, I had a great view of the action. Actually, I was really standing in the first half. This wasn't actually my view. But imagine if it was. Imagine if I had people behind me that did not want me to stand up. This would be my view. Nashville, this is a choice. It's kind of quiet. Where'd the fans over there? We are aware that the second half started, right? Doesn't sound like it.
really feel bad for you Nashville fans tonight. This is rough. Again, it's there. It's right there, and they can't get it in.
A few moments later.
Look, when you put 20 shots towards the net, 10 of them actually on target, you're bound to score at some point. And Nashville just proved the theory correctly here. They are now up 2-0, thanks to Mr. Ahmed Kasim. I guess the question now is, can Portland actually do something? Because they've done nothing all game. Will that change in the final 30?
This is the key shot. The president going back and to his left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
And there's the yellow card. That's about as good of a chance that Portland has had in the last, hour. What happened to your jacket? What happened to your jacket?
Hey, where's your jacket? Entering the game, please welcome making his NSC debut, Gaston Brugman.
Another quarter chance, maybe.
There we go.
Limited tickets are still available at
A fun way to end a one-sided game where the home club seemed to fight itself more than Portland did, and this takes us to our away day review where I'll rank Nashville SC and Geodis Park on the 4 categories that you see here. And let's start with the stadium itself, and I'm getting the bad out right away because you can't talk about Geodis Park without talking about the parking situation. There's one word to describe parking at these games: terrible. Look at this man here. This is one of about a dozen that you'll see in the neighborhood near the stadium, directing people to park in front of people's front yards. That's how ill-suited the parking situation is. Now, I had a pro tip to park at Fort Negley, where parking is free and it's an easy walk. However, Jake and I got to Nashville a little later than we wanted, and we saw that Uber was cheap going in. So we did just that, which left us a mess when we left Geodis Park. They closed so many roads around the stadium that our Uber driver couldn't even get to us, and we had to take a very expensive taxi just to get out. Don't make our mistake, just get there early to get your parking sorted. Now that unpleasantness is out of the way, the stadium itself is actually really nice. It presents itself nice when you walk in. In fact, this is probably nicer in the daylight. The concourses felt very open and walkable. Like in San Diego, I never felt claustrophobic here, though the concourses at Geodis were enclosed. There's also no shortage of places to spend money at. The team store had a massive line, but there's also other satellite stores around the stadium. There was also a lot of places to eat and a good variety of them as well. We'll talk about prices and more on the concessions in the value section. plenty of restroom space, and they were all pretty nice, but I have to mention something about the restrooms themselves, at least for the guys. I have never seen so many urinals at a stadium before, ever. Nashville SC understood the assignment. It's a newer stadium that opened up just a couple years ago, so it feels like a new stadium in general. Seating was comfortable, and while Jake and I took the piss out of our awkward seating arrangement, we were fine with standing and leaning against the rail. We're not Nashville supporters, but we also kind of felt like one standing next to the supporter section and being in a section that was formerly a supporter section, even though we're neutrals. Unlike San Diego, this is a pretty enclosed stadium, so I'm sure when the place is full of about 30,000 fans, it sounds amazing. Problem is, it wasn't full of 30,000 fans when I went. As I said earlier, it was chilly, and Nashville SC isn't doing great this year and not expected to, so that kind of explains the emptiness of it. I'll explain more in the vibe section. But as for the stadium, I'll give Geodis Park a solid 8. It's a great place to catch a game as long as you have a plan for parking. The parking really drags this place down because this could have been a legendary score otherwise. I really enjoyed the stadium itself though. It's just the parking and the weird seating choices adjacent to the supporters end I have questions about. So at one point, the game score would have been pretty low. I rated San Diego versus St. Louis the week prior a 5 because it was a boring 0-0 draw. And with Nashville having the absolute worst luck scoring this game, missing these 2 penalty kicks in the first 20 minutes, this was approaching that territory or worse. But that kind of became a storyline in of itself, and it actually was kind of fun to follow. And when Nashville finally broke through, it was a great moment. And to be fair, Nashville absolutely took it to Portland this game, who looked awful and really didn't show any sign of making this game competitive, even though Nashville was spiting itself on offense at times. The game itself wasn't particularly sloppy or anything like that, but it had its own brand of entertainment with the Nashville can't score plot line, so I'm going to be nice. I'm going to give the game quality a 6.5. Nashville's storyline of will they score was fun, but in fairness, Nashville did play well overall. What drags it down is Portland was terrible, and this match had no stakes to it, being so early and these two teams playing in opposite conferences. Now we move on to value, and I'm going to take a shot in the dark here and assume there's not many places in MLS where you can get front row seats for $30 a pop that doesn't involve you sprinting down the stairs of your supporter section when the gates open. Well, because Nashville isn't expected to be good this year, because it was against an out-of-conference non-rival, and because it was a little nippy, that's what Jake and I got. Great value. Here's a look at ticket prices the day before the match. On the left is TickPick, and on the right is tickets through the club itself on Ticketmaster. You can still get in the door either way for less than $30 on TickPick, though with Ticketmaster fees that goes up a little bit. The team store is nice, but everything is priced as you would expect MLS Club to price things for. You do get a slight markup on Fanatics by buying in person. As I stated earlier, there's plenty of places to eat and prices weren't bad at all compared to other American venues. Beer was a bit cheaper than San Diego, and there were affordable food options at both concession stands as well as these grab-and-go places that were becoming popular in America. I couldn't get close enough to film it, but the hot food at this stand was $6. And if you really want to be cheap, they let you bring in a plastic bottle for free, so that gives you some points. In fact, like the stadium, I'll also give the value an 8. It's really not bad for a top-level venue like Nashville's. What hurts the score a bit is parking prices, but you can get around that, and just general American pricing, but I've kicked that horse enough on this channel. It's long been dead. If you're a Nashville supporter, this one might be a bit controversial. I was not really moved by the atmosphere at Geodis Park on this particular night. The supporters end, from my vantage point, wasn't super loud, nor was it super filled out. I see now why they made the end section seated sections, because the supporter section next to me was maybe half full. Now, to be fair, I discussed the factors dragging this match down, and I think they played a role here as well. The capos, the drummers, and diehards all did their part, but they just weren't that big in number. And the rest of the stadium was pretty laid back and casual. They did cheer and boo when they needed to, but it just kind of felt like the people that did show up were struggling to really get into it at times. And at halftime, this place was a graveyard, as you saw earlier. It was so strange. And throughout the stadium, there were a lot of empty seats.
They're also missing people. Like, those are seats. Those aren't people. I get it's a little chilly, but come on, support your club.
Now, initially the Vibes were going to get a poor score, but then I'm reminded that the eye of the beholder is definitely a thing here. This jam session afterwards by supporters looked like a lot of fun, and maybe I just wasn't seeing the vibes from where I was. This here actually redeems the vibes a bit, so I'll give the vibes at Geodis Park a 6. Again, I think there were elements that conspired to drag this down, whether poor opponent and low expectations for the home team. But the supporters that were there were doing their best to get the energy up. It's just that I've seen much more high places. But again, if I go on a warmer rivalry night against, say, Atlanta or Charlotte, this score probably is better. But I have to judge it based on what I saw. So that gives Geodis Park a respectable 28.5 out of 40. It's a great stadium, and we got a great deal on getting there. It's just the game itself and the vibes were a bit off. But this may have been just a one-night thing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more. I'm going to try to hit up more MLS venues this year in addition to USL and NWSL venues, and even get some non-league games in as well this year. Thank you to the Zombie Ultras as well that helped get me and Jake to Nashville, including Jake himself. And of course, my 99-cent supporter section as well, who have been ride or die since the get-go. This is your Soccer Zombie, Tom Franklin here, and the away day review for San Diego will be coming out later in the week that this is published. But in the meantime, if you want to see why I keep comparing Nashville to San Diego, I was in San Diego a week before the Nashville game, and I did a full vlog on that right up here. It's more of a travel vlog and also a pregame hype vlog. This was San Diego's first ever home match, and I had a great time there. I really did. And maybe you'll have a great time watching this video too. If only California were as close to St. Louis as my finger is to this video. Never gonna happen.